Peace, family. Welcome to another episode of Broken Theory. Today we got a special guest, Lando. What's going on, brother?
What's going on, man? Appreciate you having us on, dude.
No doubt, man. No doubt. Let's talk about your music journey, man. How'd you first get started with music?
Dope. Yeah, so I found music later in life. I grew up in Canada, moved to the US when I was 15, and I really kind of just started on the path trying to get money and wealth and played sports, but ended up in New York City doing investment banking and then private equity till I was about 26. My whole life, though, I've always been a writer. So I always loved to write, and just kind of as a passion, I would just write stories. I would write songs, anything to kind of get that out of my system. And always felt a great passion for, music and singing. But I think like a lot of people, like I had these unfulfilled dreams and didn't really take action on them.
Yeah.
Just kind of lived for the weekend, lived for kind of just making money and partying my life away. And I got to a point where I was like 26, and I realized, if I don't actually find my passion, I'm just going to live the rest of my life, knowing I had unfulfilled potential.
For sure.
So I made a decision. Yeah, I kind of made a decision. I'm just going to sing every single day and write every single day until I feel like I've learned the craft and have this ability to start sharing my sound. And that was, 3.5 years ago. And it took a long time until I got to a place where I was confident in my voice. I learned piano, kind of worked on my bars and worked on my sound. And I'm 29 now and just shared my first song in April.
Yeah.
And then the second song recently, which you heard, and how we connected.
It sounds like you've been doing this a long time, man. So at what age did you start actually recording?
Dude, this year. So literally this past April was the first time I stepped into the studio.
But were you like always writing? Were you always writing, or just like, okay.
Facts. Yeah, the last 3 years has really been a journey of like grinding on my voice, grinding on writing, kind of underwater, under the iceberg. And then just recently feeling like I'm at a place to share it. So I think it took a lot of patience. If you would have asked me at the time I started, I would have thought it would have been like 8 months until I could start recording in the studio. But it took, the better part of 3 years. So I felt like I had something to share and something to say.
So like for your music journey, when you were ready to start going for it, you pretty much held yourself to a certain standard and was like, look, when I feel like it's ready, that's when I'll release my first song.
Facts, dude, exactly. And I think it takes, a realistic perspective and some humility to like, look, not everyone is gonna step right in and have music that's worth listening to. Like you're fighting for people's attention, you're fighting for people's ear space. And so for me, it was a lot of my bars in the beginning were just kind of cap. I was talking about like fucking, partying, like girls. And I kind of had to take a serious look. I had to take a long time and say, like, what is my message? What am I trying to say? What messages do I want to spread? And slowly, the lyrics started to evolve. My standard kept increasing until, now I feel like I have a sound. I have a clear standard of what goes into my music.
So like what got you to that point to where you started to pay attention to the lyrics and the things that you were saying? Like you said, stepping away from, I guess you could say like the industry standard starter kit. You know what I mean? The money, girls, cars, clothes, all that stuff. At what point did you realize, hey man, this isn't me. I want to step back and kind of get deeper with my audience?
It's a great question. I think it honestly took sitting with emotions and realizing like how I felt on my own 2 feet listening to my songs. Like,
got you.
I would listen to songs and I would share it with my friends and family. And there were moments where I was like, look, what am I trying to put into the world? Am I trying to be another person just saying really nonsense, like just bullshit that I can rhyme? And it started that way, right? Like, you kind of start being like, okay, what rhymes, what flows? And then I started to listen to, artists like my favorite rapper is J. Cole. He's someone that is, conscious with his lyrics. And like, I started to listen. Every word is intentional. Every word means something. And I started to ask myself, like, no more filler, no more bars. And very slowly, again, over 3 years, it really evolved into, Gator Teeth, my last single that you heard. It's there's a message at the end. It's all about wrestling with your mind, and then it ends on a message of hope. So I'm trying to keep that standard now with everything I make.
Yeah, that's dope, man. Like I said, when I heard it, I definitely heard how high quality it was, and for somebody to release a song like being their first song like that, definitely grabbed my attention, man. So I just want to ask
really
you,
appreciate it.
yeah, no doubt. I just want to ask you, how do you decide when a piece of music is ready to be shared with the world? Like you talked about your process, you know, for the past 3 years, you were going back and forth with your records. How do you decide when it's ready?
It's a good question. I think the approach I take is I don't come in with a rigid vision of the song. Like my process is I'll sit with an instrumental. I actually get a lot of my instrumentals on marketplaces like BeatStars and shit like that. I'll listen for inspiration, and then I'll kind of slowly write the song. When I take it into the studio, I have a producer I love working with. Shout out Demo. He's a producer here in New York. He actually helped produce The Blueprint with Jay-Z. So he's been in the industry for a long time. And I was connected to him through a singing coach on Broadway. And really, I let the song kind of take me in the direction, and I kind of have a curious mindset about it. So if I'm feeling inspired and the song's going in a certain direction, I will follow those clues. With Gator Teeth, we added kind of more bass, guitar, and it kind of took a bit of a rock form, which I didn't see coming. And I think, for lack of a better answer, there's just kind of a moment where you realize that all of the little nitpicky edits you're adding, it doesn't really move the needle, and the essence of the song is captured. And you could be in there forever. You could be in there forever tinkering at it. And it's going to end up in the same place. So once I feel like that essence is captured, I will sit with it, listen to it for a few days. I'll usually have 1 or 2 things that bug me, but other than that, it's ready to go. And sorry, just to keep, not to ramble.
No, you're good, bro.
With this one specifically, I remember, and I'm here with my manager and one of my best friends, Will. We listened to the song for a couple days, and it ended after the second verse. And in my heart, I was like, you know what? I kind of want to end on a message of hope. And so that morning, I actually wrote the third verse and came into the studio the last day of production. And I was like, yo, let's lay this down, because the song needs to end on an uplifting message. Yeah. So that's what we did. So
no, that's dope. When you're working on an album, what is the process like for you?
Yeah, so my first album, it's going to be called 3 a.m. in New York. I've been writing these songs for, like I said, the last few years, with kind of a path and direction in mind. We just finished our 8th song in the studio. So right now I just am sitting on a collection of singles, and I'm slowly kind of releasing them one at a time, slowly trying to build the audience the right way. And I've kind of had the structure of the album in mind for a long time. So from now, it's just kind of which order do I want these in, and then which songs do I want to add into the album. So yeah, I would say it's kind of, because it's been such a long process, it's kind of been built with that intention for a while. But like I said, I haven't even put out an album yet, so I will. I'll let you know when I
100%, man. What would you say is a couple of bodies of work that inspire you?
It's a good question. I would say, honestly, every album from J. Cole, Jay-Z, like kind of the classics, I try to go in and do a deep dive with, and I'll kind of take a couple days and wrestle with them. So I just did that on To Pimp a Butterfly with Kendrick Lamar. Like I'll take a week and I'll just listen to the album over and over and see what speaks to me, see what I like. So for lack of a long-winded answer, I would just say the classics. If you live in greatness for long enough, your standard starts to become raised.
Yeah.
So really all of J. Cole's albums, I just kind of devour every single thing he makes. Again, some of my favorites are Jay-Z. I fuck with Polo G like super heavy. Anything he makes, I pay attention to. Yeah, really, there's a lot. It's hard for me to narrow it down, but I would say just like the classics from those three. I would say J. Cole, Jay-Z, and Kendrick.
Okay, that's what's up. Any books that you've read that changed your life or that have helped you as an artist?
For sure, for sure. I would say if you're interested in creativity generally, it doesn't even have to be music. Like you gotta read and reread and reread The Creative Act by Rick Rubin.
Oh man, that's a classic, bro.
I mean, I got it straight up tattooed on my arm. I got that little like Target symbol tattooed because I just fucking love that book.
Oh man, yeah, that shit was dope,
Like,
bro. How
yeah,
I've been using it,
I
I've been like reading a little bit and going into a session. Like I realized what the book was. Like it wasn't your traditional book that you just read all the way through. At least for me, my perception. The way that it affected me, it kind of just reminded me that there aren't any limitations, you know what I mean, before going into a session. So, I mean, every time I've sat and read the book before I went in and started creating, it's been amazing. So I've been trying to prolong finishing the book. But
no,
yeah,
bro,
man,
I
I
mean, you
love it.
nailed it. Yeah, it's one of those books where you should read it that way. You should kind of open it and see what speaks to you, and then and I even recommend the Audible too. The Audible is fantastic. It's
Oh,
got like
yeah.
a little gong that goes chapters, and you're just like, fuck yeah. So the Creative Act, and then I'm interested in spirituality and philosophy as well,
Mhm.
Eastern religions. I would recommend anything from Alan Watts, the book on the taboo against knowing who you are. And then I would also recommend The Untethered Soul by Mickey Watts. But any of those books, or sorry, Mickey Singer, not Mickey Watts. Any of those books, they speak on the same truths. So it's like you can really, whatever one is your foothold into that,
Mhm.
I'd recommend. But the Untethered Soul is a great space to start.
For sure. What are some sacrifices that you've made to get where you are right now?
Oh, bro, fuck ton. like I've, like I said, I quit my job in private equity this past March. So all stable income. I've left behind to just do this 10 toes in.
Yeah.
I've been sober. I've been sober for 2 years to work on my voice because alcohol is
Congratulations,
fucking
bro.
up. Thank you, bro. I appreciate it.
No doubt.
Same with smoking. So I haven't smoked or drank anything for 2 years just for my vocal cords. Friendships, like all those friends that you have from partying and from nightlife in New York, especially because it's a big time nightlife culture.
Oh, it's a different world out there.
Totally. Totally. And it's not like intentional. Like, it's not like I'm like, oh, I don't want to hang out with these people. But, you know, those people that you see every weekend, it maybe will turn to a handful of them going on coffee walks or shit like that.
Mhm.
Like, my whole lifestyle has changed. You know, like dating, I'm not like going on dates and drinking every week. It's much more intentional.
Yeah.
But I think it's turned to a more mature, intentional person, just
For sure.
having music be like kind of the guiding light for my life.
For sure. I feel like as an artist, it's really important to find what peace means to you. You know what I mean? And just go for it full fledged. Like there is no manual, you know what I mean? Everybody, especially as an artist, has to kind of just figure out what's best for them. And you know what I mean? Just always trying something new, you know what I mean? Not being scared to learn something new, you know, always just adds the wisdom to your journey.
100%.
What would you say? Yeah, go ahead, bro.
Sorry. I was just gonna end. The biggest sacrifice has been like the commitment I made to myself, which was that I'm going to sing every single day. Like I've sang 3 hours every day for 3 years without missing a single day.
How has that been like
I've
for you? Like what's that daily process like?
It's fucking wild. Like
Do you do it in the morning?
Warm up and then I do it whenever I can fit it. Usually it's at like 11 a.m. I have the most energy. But like I've sang in like fucking motels, public restrooms, like that are abandoned. Like I have had to find anywhere. So like when you commit to something like that and then like shape every day around it, it's just a time sacrifice. Like, so that's been like the hardest part of the journey is getting my voice where it needs to be. And probably the biggest sacrifice too. I've never worked that hard at anything.
So what kind of put it in your mind that that was what you wanted to do, or that was what you needed to do because you're doing it?
Bro, I think just living long enough in like an unexamined way, you realize like there has to be more to it. And then you have clues in your life. Like I remember I used to always watch singers and feel super inspired. And there's small moments like not trying out for a play when I was young. I used to like, I remember that moment really stuck with me, and I was like, why, when 90% of these memories are gone, does that one stick with me? And so I actually started with an opera coach in the city. And then that is how I got into the singing journey.
Wow.
And then it just took me deeper than I would have thought.
So are you still involved with
looking
the opera coach?
Yeah, to this day. Laura K, she's great. Yeah, but I think if you're looking for your passion, like there's clues. And if you pay attention to your life and you look at what were you excited about as a kid, for example, like writing, you know, I thought, okay, I love singing, I love writing. Like, how can I combine this? But if you're aware, there's clues, you know?
How has music changed your life forever?
Finesse, baby.
It's given me everything. It's given me purpose. It's given me love and appreciation for everyone. Like I look at the world through that lens now, where I think about, you know, what am I feeling in this moment? You know, how can I channel that into something that helps people, and how can I channel that into a message? It's just given me meaning and purpose and a reason to be here. I feel like before I was just completely aimless, did fucking every drug you can think of and just didn't have any purpose in my life. And now I feel like I have a reason for existing.
100%, man. How did you get your name?
So my name is Landon, and all my friends call me Lando.
Okay.
And when I thought about who I am as an artist, I wanted to use that name. I think because of the relationships that call me that, it's kind of like, feels like the best of me is in that because of those friendships.
That's dope.
And so now when I'm performing live now, I just like do my best to leave Landon in the fitting room and channel Lando for like that hour that I'm on stage.
Gotcha.
So it's become almost, yeah.
Nah, 100%, man. I understand. You got to turn it on and off, bro. How do you handle creative block?
Oh, that's a good question. Honestly, I think this can be helpful for any creative out there. To handle a creative block, all you have to do is change your perspective and change your paradigm on where creativity comes from. If you think it comes from inside of you, then you're going to feel blocked if nothing's coming up. But if you understand that source material is everywhere, it's all around us, it's in the universe, it's whatever you want to call it, God, whatever you want to call it, and your job is to become an effective channel or an effective conduit for that inspiration, it's not coming from you, it's coming from source, and you are to channel it and become a conduit for it. So when you realize that it's everywhere, like there's enough inspiration in a square foot of forest to, you know, fuel a lifetime of creative work. You just have to become more sensitive antenna, and you have to become better at noticing. It's not hidden, blocked away inside of you. It's everywhere, and you just have to be open to it and have a finely tuned awareness.
What kind of opened your eyes to that outlook? Because I mean, you know, it's all like, you know, seeing the signs and stuff like that. It's like a radio station. You got to turn the frequency. What kind of opened your eyes to that?
Bro, I think in addition to like an intuitive knowing that we all have, I think it's a lot of the spiritual truths speak to it, just about how we are all connected. We're all the same spark of consciousness, but all credit goes to the creative act and the artist way, and these books that I kind of poured myself into. These people have gotten this science of creativity, if you will, and they've bottled it up into these books, and it's out there for everyone. Like the information is there. Yeah,
you just got to be careful of whose information you're taking in, because not everybody's a credible source. Somebody could be leading you down the rabbit hole, you know what I mean? But
totally.
What would you feel like? Go ahead, bro.
I was gonna say that's why it's like when it's coming from a producer with Rick Rubin's resume, like you pay attention, you know?
Oh yeah, for sure, man. He's one of those ones, and he's one of those people that's there and you don't actually know what he's doing, but he's just there curating every single thing.
Totally. I mean, that'd be a fucking dream, like
Yeah, I
collaboration.
would love to work with Rick Rubin. What would you say is your biggest investment in music besides time?
Mm. I think just the money that's gone into things like vocal coaching and studio time, like studio time in the city with my producer. It's worth every penny, but it's not cheap.
How much would
So
you
just
say
the
that you've
monetary,
spent the past 3 years?
bro. Honestly, if you added up every voice lesson, every production session, all the beats that I've bought, like all the piano work, like every musical, like I have a home setup here where I record and do freestyles and stuff. It's got to be over 50 grand, like
Oh,
in, I think, if I'm guessing, like, and that's just, maybe that's a little high, but just all encompassing, it's like, every day has been centered around music. So
yeah.
it's a lot of time and
I mean, it
a lot
costs,
of,
you know what I mean? And
yeah,
especially when you're putting that money up yourself, going the independent route, you don't have a machine
totally.
behind you. So you're coming out of pocket for every single thing. Like you said, the vocal lessons, you got to find a way to make sure your rent is paid and all of that stuff too. So like,
Yeah,
yeah, it's a journey, man, but I'm glad you got it figured out. It
totally.
seems like, your consistency is definitely there.
Well,
I'm looking forward to the
thank you,
album.
bro.
Who would you say
Thank you.
is your favorite inspiration in your life?
Mm. Mm. Honestly, I get super inspired by anyone that's chasing their passion and doing something unique to them
Gotcha.
and giving their expression to the world and their essence and like brave enough to share their art.
Mm-hmm.
Like I think anyone that's living their truth and sharing their branch with the world um, is an inspiration to me. Musically, again, I would say it's Jake Cole for sure. My dream would be to be a writer at that caliber, and then also a vocalist, um, a high level vocalist as well. So, yeah, he inspires me greatly. But again, I get inspired by anyone that's just living their truth. And then, I have friends that inspire me, like Will, who's right next to me. Like he left his job to buy in and help me build the business part of it as my manager. He's a talented producer as well. One of my other best friends, Luke, he left his job to start his business, Supper Series. So it's anyone that kind of takes the atypical route in order to chase a passion is super inspiring to me.
Yeah. I mean, because those are the people that essentially understand you and you understand them, you know what I mean? Because we're
Yeah,
technically like the black sheep of the family, doing
yeah,
something untraditional from what all of our other peers are chasing. There is no end game in this that's guaranteed. You just kind of got to figure out what's best for you and just keep adjusting accordingly. Uh, what would you say is your
100%.
most memorable performance moment?
Oh man, it was definitely my show I had a couple weeks ago. We have a residency there now in New York. It's this place called the Parkside Lounge, but we just like packed it with like so many of my friends and people that were important to me. We made the tickets free and just said like, I want all of my homies here. And we just like turned up with all of my favorite songs and like,
That's dope.
it was super special.
That's dope.
Yeah.
That's amazing, man. What's some advice that
Thank
you
you.
would tell your younger self?
Yeah, dude, it's hard, right? Because I try to balance it with the fact that I wouldn't have been ready for this path if it didn't take so long. I wouldn't have had the maturity to chase something that has no rewards for years. Um, and I think if I knew what it would take at the beginning, it might have scared me away. But I would just say to myself, I would have done it sooner. I would have lived in a more examined way and said, take the path that's true to who you are and not the path that's going to make you money or that people approve of or gives you status in the eyes of the world.
Mm-hmm.
Like really ask yourself in your heart, like what makes me feel alive? And then just fucking run at that, dude. Like we only have one shot at this thing.
Mm-hmm. What's a challenge that you faced that kind of made you, look in the mirror and be like, am I built for this? Am I ready for this?
Yeah.
Maybe turn away or something
Well,
like that. Has there ever been a moment?
yeah, totally. Like the whole journey has been, dude, the whole journey has been like constant voice of self-doubt wanting to creep in. It truly did take me like years before my voice was ready for me to share it. Like, you know, like anything, if you start, you're going to be a beginner, and you have to be willing to embrace being a beginner and not being where you want to be. So
Mm-hmm.
every day for years, when I would come home frustrated, like, fuck, like this isn't happening as fast as I would want, my voice isn't where I want it to be, you know, I was like, fuck, maybe you just like you know, you're not going to get there, maybe you just don't have the talent. And I think what got me through those moments was knowing that writing is my superpower. And, you know, I always had the writing to fall back on. So on days when I was super discouraged with the singing, I would come home and write. And then, you know, days where, you know, when I really needed that faith, I had my writing to turn to. But it's been an exercise of faith. And you really need to have that. Like, you need to have faith before the results. Because if you don't, then it's hard to accomplish anything great if you know, if you can't work without immediate rewards.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, I feel like this day and age, the generation, they want so much external validation, you know what I mean, all the time. And it's like they want more and more and more and more. And it's like, as artists, I feel like that's the enemy, you know what I mean? Because, you know, you kind of get more in tune to like what people think about the art versus creating art that's best for you. You know what I mean?
100%. And you can't create, just to add on to that, like, you can't create for other people because you're just guessing. You don't know what anyone else will like. You have, all you really know is what you like, and anything else is a guess. So you can only make what you love. And when you love it, then it's done and you share it.
100%. So at what point did you realize that you needed a manager?
Dude, I think it was less me being like, I need a manager, and it was more we would just jam and make music together, like, as in, like, he would play the piano and I would sing. And because I met him at a dinner party, and he was like, I play the violin, and he's a brilliant violin player. And so I was like, well, bro, let's just go into a studio and make music. And then he heard the originals and then saw that my ass like just had no fucking clue what I was doing with the business. And he was like, he made the sacrifice to be like, look, I'm gonna put my dreams on hold and help you build this business because I know the help that you need. Which, when you have someone like that believes in you, like, it just makes you feel like you can do anything. So
100%, man.
It's been here.
It's always good when those relationships are formed genuinely. You know what I mean? It's not like something like you're like, oh, I need a manager, you know, and one falls from out the sky and then he's trying to steal all your money and stuff like, you know what I mean? It's like you guys genuinely bonded first through the music.
Yes.
And, you know, he wanted to help you and put you in position to where it was like beneficial for you. Yeah, that's amazing, man. Love to hear it.
And honestly, everyone on this path has been like that. So, like, for example, my producer, I didn't get connected to him until 2 years down the line with my vocal coach. And then he was finally like, yo, you're ready to be in a studio. I'll connect you with David.
Fire.
And so he came at a certain point when I was ready. And then, you know, our videographer who helps us out with like short music videos and shit, he's someone that just bought into the music too. And like, he wasn't like, you know, I couldn't afford like a premium videographer right now. And he was like, yo, I believe in this shit. Like, let's do it. So everyone, it's almost like these angels come onto the path if it's coming from the right place, and they can tell that it's coming from the right place.
But it all starts with you as the artist. You know what I mean? You have to be putting out something that's like 100% authentic to you in order for that to happen as an artist. You know what I'm saying? Not just like your story, but everybody's story. You know, everything could fall in line just like that. You know what I mean? But you got to make sure you're being 100% authentic and doing everything for the right reasons.
Totally. And 6 months into it, like, I wouldn't have been able to attract these people into the team. You know, I wasn't ready. Like, it comes when you've kind of given your heart to something and you're all in it, like you said.
100%. So before we skate out of here, man, is there anything that you want to give a shout out to? Anything coming next?
Yeah. I mean, we got Die Young. My next single comes out this Friday, the 27th. And this song is, to me, I think it's probably the song I'm proudest of right now, because it's kind of my vocals on full display, and it's my rapping and lyricism on full display.
Wow.
So it kind of, it captures me as an artist, I think, really well. So
That's
keep a
dope.
look up for Die Young. Yeah. And then, dude, just shout out to yourself, Fly Nonsense, and this podcast. I love what you're doing,
I
man.
appreciate it,
Giving
man.
people a platform to share their message.
Yeah, man, I never had one, you know what I mean, when I first started, and I would love, like, there's no amount of money that I would pay, you know what I mean, to be able to go back and hear how I was like thinking about music and the process, 5 years ago or 7 years ago, whenever I started. So I just figured, everybody matters, and we need to just have a platform to where it's just all about the music. And the community that I've been building over a period of time, man, has just been like, we've been doing virtual open mics, and everybody that's been pulling up has been like completely different. You know what I mean? Like, everybody has their own sound. It's not like you could pinpoint and be like, oh, this person sounds like this or whatever. It's just like all various genres. And I think I'm onto something with that, because I'm trying to link different people making different music on my production. So I do want to extend that to you as well. I'm putting together an album. Definitely would love to have you a part of it if you want to be a part of it.
I'd love to.
Yeah, no doubt. For sure. Yeah, we'll be in touch, brother. All right, I'm going to give you a call on a personal level, man. God bless.
I appreciate it, Jared. Hey, you're the man. Thank you for the opportunity.
I appreciate you, brother.